When thinking about surprises, I could be tempted to talk about the death of my husband or my child coming 7 weeks early. But of course, those are surprises. Everything that is truly horrible and tragic and big that happens in someone's life, they almost never saw coming. So what I want to talk about is the thing that really surprised me, which is the after. And in particular, I want to talk about the people who showed up, because that was the most surprising thing to me over the last year, is the people who arrived to hold me. There's my friend Paula, who arrived at the NICU 2 days after my husband died and listened to me tell my story and cry, and she just held my feet. And her husband and her 2 children took care of my cats for 4 months while I tried to return to my home. And when I asked her how could I thank her, she said, no, I would like to actually thank you because you've given me this opportunity to teach my children what it means to care for each other. There's my friend Mary, who sent me messages every week asking me how I was, and to this day remains one of the few people who's very comfortable talking to me about my husband and letting me talk about him. Her friend, Val, who was really just an acquaintance of mine, sent me Facebook posts every day with quotes and articles about grief. And she bought me a necklace that is traditional mourning jewelry made of jet and gave it to me on Thanksgiving, which I don't think she knew, but of course was a very difficult day for me. Another friend texted me every day and asked me how I was doing and for a picture of my son. Another came up to my exile in Tequila and took me to a tea shop in Kent. My parents showed up in a way that I could never have expected. We moved in together about a year ago, and they take care of my son every day while I'm at work. And I don't know where I'd be without them, and the good news is we haven't killed each other yet. So I think it's actually working. But the biggest surprise to me, the person who surprised me the most during the last year, is actually myself. And I'm really clear to people that I didn't think that my husband's death was survivable for me. And in certain ways, I didn't survive, because I'm also really clear to people that the person who was a wife died with her husband. And I'm somebody new. And at first, this new person's job was to keep me alive, to pull me through those first really difficult months through a sense of grit and determination and self-preservation and just a will to live that I didn't know I had within myself. But what's even more surprising is in the last couple of months, this other aspect of this new person has come out that is about blossoming and moving from survival into figuring out how to thrive again. And I like to think about Mount St. Helens, which I like to think about as my mountain because it erupted 4 days before I was born, heralding my arrival in 1980. And it actually, my son was born on the 35th anniversary of the eruption. And I think about going up there and the desolation and the destruction that's up there. And still, even in the worst places, in the places covered in ash, you can still find new growth. The fresh leaf and the tiny bud. And I'm beginning to feel those things myself. And I don't know who this new person is, but for the first time, I'm really looking forward to getting to know her. Thanks.